All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
So right after yesterday's show, Donald Trump puts out the True Social post, and he basically exposes the op I told you about yesterday. Once you recognize and see the op with open eyeballs, Clockwork Orange style, little eye openers in there, you can never unsee it, ever. The op is so clear. This globalist anti-American movement will use any vehicle to pierce the minds of Americans. You're seeing it in the expose yesterday about Cuba. Cuba's running info ops in the United States. Yeah, of course. They hate the United States. Anything they can do to dismantle this place from the inside, they will do. The thing is, you vaccinate yourself against the op once you see it. You do. But the difference is this vaccine actually works. This one actually works. It's amazing. This one works. Once you see it, you're inoculated. I'll show you what I mean coming up. Also, we got a great interview today. You know, one of the things about American history I love, and I know nobody liked history classes in school. You should, because the story of the American Revolution is a Netflix special for the ages. The revolutionary generation, folks, were legit badasses. They took on the British Empire like 1,000-to-1 odds, guerrilla warfare, all kinds. They were badasses. I got a guest coming up in the next hour you're going to love from Hillsdale about just this topic. About 15, 20 minutes, the interview. I promise it's worth your time. Big show for you today. I'm going to show you the op. Trump gets it, called it out yesterday. Hey, if you're still starting your day with that watered down, brown water, garbage coffee, throw it out, get rid of it. You're doing it wrong. Every morning, I get my coffee from Blackout Coffee. Love Blackout Coffee. It's ready to go. It's strong, bold, not bitter, no nonsense, exactly how coffee should be. A bold coffee taste. Blackout Coffee is a small American company that actually shares your values. They roast some of the best coffee I've ever had. Don't just buy a bag. Join the coffee club. It's what I do. Your coffee shows up automatically. You save money, you get free shipping, and you're never stuck drinking brown water, terrible, bad coffee again. Plus, you start stacking up rewards. They even hook you up with bonus credits after a few deliveries. Can't beat that. And right now, they've got some really cool limited releases for the 250th anniversary of this great United States we call home. You don't want to miss those. So go to blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino for 20% off your first order. That's blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino to join the coffee club today. Once you make the switch, you're not going back. blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Thank you, Blackout Coffee. All right, fellas, let's go. I told you about the op yesterday, how the very same people pushing for the International Criminal Court of Tyrants to arrest Donald Trump the second he leaves office and travels outside of the United States. The same people are pushing to arrest Netanyahu too, because they know the second they mention the Jews or Israel, that a bunch of people go, oh, I love the ICC. Even if the ICC is going to arrest you too. Why do you think, I saw this, I don't even know if it was AI. It was these radio hosts were arguing back and forth about Donald Trump. And the guy's like, you're attacking Donald Trump for being a failure? The guy's a billionaire who's the president of the United States. Like, you spreadsheet, you look like an idiot. Every businessman's had some failures along the way. Hell, I wrote a whole book about stumbling. You think anyone's had a linear line up to success without ever stumbling one time? Folks, BS. We'll talk about George Washington later. George Washington, when he was fighting for the British, he actually surrendered at Fort Necessity at one time. Lincoln had a ton of failures. Don't tell me about that. Tell me about where they ended in the net present value. Trump gets it. Here he is putting up on True Social yesterday about this ridiculous call to use the International Criminal Court warrants to start arresting diplomats at the UN in New York like Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States of America. He's fighting against the Islamic Republic of Iran, which recently killed 52,000 innocent protesters and spent the last 47 years killing American soldiers and others. Yes, Mr. President. The only ones that should be arrested are the people that led Iran into this unprecedented spiral of death and destruction, something that should have been dealt with years ago by previous presidents. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Folks, this is not going to end well. I titled today's show that. Sometimes I'm not the best. I like to do the titles to the show myself. Those come out of the genesis of the title is in Dan Bongino's early morning brain. I am not the best guy at titles for sure, but I like to control everything myself. A little bit of a control freak in that respect. That did it? That was my point. Thank you, Justin. We did not plan this. Justin's like, yeah, this one came too early at 2:30, which is a little bit after I left the office because I do some show prep afterwards. This title was so obvious to me because I'm telling you, folks, this is not going to end well. This side pushing for the International Criminal Court to arrest everyone in the Trump administration, including the president and his family, to arrest Netanyahu. They are obsessed with the violent internal takedown of America, and they will do anything they can to psyop you into taking part of it, even if it involves the destruction and burning down of your own community. They don't care. The op is real and it's transparent. You saw it again yesterday. Their obsession with violence on the left is a growing, metastasizing pancreatic stage 5 cancer that is going to kill the host if we don't intercept this early. And to the Democrats out there who are still logical and have a compass true north, the whole Democrat Party hasn't been corrupted yet, but it's getting close. Even listen to guys like Van Jones. Van Jones is out there saying this is really dangerous. You've got Fetterman out there. This is really dangerous. Did we ever play that Fetterman thing yesterday? I don't think we did, right? Do we try to pull that for the end of the show? Hold on. I'm going to take a note here. Sorry, guys, but this is a live show and I don't want to forget. Fetterman's thinking about leaving the Democrat Party. To the Democrats out there who are still saying, we need you. We're cleaning up, infiltrations in our party by bad actors. You guys have to do the same. I mean, it's gotten to the point now where it's become almost like farcical. They're just love affair with violence. Did you see this ridiculous clip with this? Well, I don't know what he is. Is he like an influencer? Like, I hate that term, but this Harry Sisson, you guys know Harry Sisson? I mean, if there's any guy out there who epitomizes like the beta male, it's this guy, Harry Sisson. Right? I know. I wish I could repeat that, but you can see where he's going with that. And he's on Don Lemon's show, another like total like non-alpha male. And Harry Sisson's like, I thought this was AI. I saw it on X. He's like, yeah, I want to beat up Steve Miller or box him. What? Are you in that? Are you people insane? You guys on the left, you've got to put down the crack rocks. It's no good. There was that song in New York, Your Mama's on Crack Rock. It's bad. Please put down drugs. Remember the Nancy Reagan thing? This is your brain on drugs. Put the crack rock down. This is an actual clip. He wants to box people now. Folks, please, on the left, stop being stupid. Stupid's a choice. You don't have to make that choice. Check this out.
I've suggested to people before in interviews, I'm like, I want to fight them. I think...
fight them?
Yeah. Like if Stephen Miller would agree, or one of the Trump children, or like anybody in the administration, I want to fight them.
God, you know what? That I would go pay to see on the White House lawn.
That's what I'm saying.
In a UFC.
Why are we doing the UFC event? Why don't we just settle some political beef? I'll take anybody in the White... I boxed for 4 years. And if they want to, I'd get back into training camp, get in the best shape of my life, and go fight one of them.
I would do it too.
Yeah. That's what I feel like there's so many people that would do it.
This is not funny. This is not a funny topic. I really am. I'm really sorry. This is not funny. It's a little, okay, you're right. It's actually, you want to see something? Here, I'm going to read this. This is my handwritten notes. Well, the lights kind of wash them out. The liberal love affair I take very few notes, but little like bullet points. I have liberal love affair with violence is not funny. I'm telling you, it literally says, sometimes it's funny. Muttley's in the chat. Maybe he should fight, like he wants to fight anyone. What about Mark Wayne Mullen? Isn't he like a UFC fighter or something like that? Wasn't Mark Wayne Mullen like an MMA guy? You see how stupid this is? Then they're going to go, well, I'll get my guy. I'll pay like Brock Lesnar. You get how dumb this is? The escalating stupidity of violence in politics? To even mention it is beyond absurd. Because folks, It has serious real world consequences. This is where this is why I say, like, it's not funny, but with this guy, it's like, you see that guy? The guy couldn't fight his way out of like a soaking wet paper bag at like Edwards Supermarket. I'd be struggling. It's a serious problem. We saw it again yesterday. The left, unlike the right, we do not accept violence. There is not a single credible right-wing MAGA libertarian Republican out there on any of these cable news or anyone with an audience out there saying, I support the violent overthrow of the United States. There's just not. There are people saying it and they're isolated out of the movement because we understand the escalating stupidity of violence. Well, I'll get Mark Wayne Mullen. Well, I'll go get this guy. I got this former MMA guy who's all of a sudden hates the Jews and everything too. Nobody's going to win. Everybody dies in the end. That's why we don't do it that way. That's why we don't do our politics internally that way. Was this hard to understand? Look what happened yesterday up at the FBI New York field office at 26 Fed. Some lunatic, again, according to the information we have now, in the early information that's come out from the FBI briefing, spouting anti-American, anti-ICE nonsense, goes with this incendiary, probably just gasoline, some gas or whatever it is, and lights it on fire, has a bunch of weapons in a backpack. This has real world consequences. You can hear the woman in the background. Can't believe this is happening. This is how many incidences of left-wing violence, incidents are you going to have of left-wing violence before you in unanimity call this stuff out and say, hey guys, like enough's enough. Maybe it's time to seek out, I can't believe I'm saying this, like a Van Jones or Fetterman and go, what are we doing wrong here? Folks, this is a serious, serious problem. This never, ever ends well. Once you put the guillotine in the plaza and start screaming off with their heads, it's your head next.
Insane. Crazy.
And they always justify it. That's the problem. They always justify it. I saw last night Scott Jennings was on CNN debating some liberal again. And the liberal, it's always, but what about Trump? What about, they can never, ever stay on topic and talk about the growing metastasizing stage 5 pancreatic cancer of left-wing violence and where this goes. Remember, folks, it escalates. The thing about the truth is, I want you to always remember this. There's always an end point. You can debate mathematics and arithmetic all you want. The bottom line is, in the end, 6 + 6 is going to equal 12. And you arguing otherwise is only going to make you look like a fool. When you debate politics and use logic and reason, there is always an end game. When you use violence as a way to solve your problems, like the left is now embraced, I can't emphasize this enough. There is an escalating ladder that's perpetual. It never stops. There's no last rung. Well, I'm going to get my guy. Well, I'm going to get my guy. Reminds me when I was growing up in Glendale, Queens, and like everybody had their own mini little gangs. Dude, it wasn't like Compton. I don't want to exaggerate, but people got into a lot of street fights. Everybody did. It happened. You know, it was like a New York thing. Well, I'm going to go get my brother. I'm going to get my cousin. Well, I'm going to get Tony. We had this tough guy in the neighborhood, this guy, Chris. He used to walk around. I'm so old. He used to have, remember the boombox? He carried this like 20-pound boombox on his shoulder. Everybody was afraid of this guy. Everyone. I'm going to go get Chris. Oh, that's the way this works. That's why it's a fool's errand. Does the left not understand this? Here's what I mean. Watch this lady try to excuse this away, and Scott Jennings uses simple logic on her. Like, you had a bunch of options to dispute ICE policies, an ICE facility in that building too. You could vote a different way, whatever, organize a PAC, volunteer, run for office. Instead, you're like, nah, let's just burn the building down. And that makes sense to you? The answer is, if you're a leftist, it does. Check this out.
Is it possible that it is the actions of ICE that have people talking like this, not just getting messaging from the Democrats, but seeing what's happening in their communities?
So if you believe that a government agency is doing something that you don't like, and your choices are A, cast a vote, B, use your words, or C, go set off an incendiary device at the federal building in New York City, and you pick C, there is no justification for this. There's no rationalization of it, and that's patently ridiculous if that is what anybody's going to argue tonight.
I love that line. Thank you, Scott. Use your big boy words. You can do that. You're allowed in a republic to object to ICE, CBP, ERO, DHS policy on immigration. And I'm allowed to disagree with you. And we argue out our points. You use logic and reason. And hopefully in a constitutional republic, representative democracy, which we're not a direct democracy, we get to a mutual kind of landing space. I lose a little, you lose a little, I gain a little, you gain a little. That's how a representative democracy works. Not with the left. The left can't use their big boy words because they don't have them. When you divorce yourself from logic and reason and the path of logic and reason, and your end game is no end game at all other than death and destruction, which is what worries me, violence is your only tool. It's your only tool. I'm not trying to wax poetic. I'm telling you the truth. When you don't have the laws of logic and reason on your side, you will never get to an endpoint where anybody wins. Because everything you're saying is bullshit. You're just making it up. You have divorced yourself from logic. So the only way to take people's liberty and freedom away is to steal it. And the only way you're going to get them to forfeit it away by stealing it is through violence. Another video there. I mean, this is, how many times are we going to see this? Multiple assassination attempts. Charlie Kirk, Steve Scalise, Antifa, BLM. How many times are we going to see this? Do you need another reminder of where this goes? And I'm not going to accept, and you shouldn't either. It's both sides. It's not both sides. It's not both sides. Folks, this is what I mean, too. You get apologists for the Death to America crowd. They love violence against America and American facilities like 26 Fed. They do. You see it everywhere. They will apologize for any act of violence against the greatest freedom and liberty country in the history of sentient beings. As long as the violence is directed against a subset of people in America who believe in our founding documents and freedom and liberty, that violence is excused. It doesn't matter who is the genesis of that violence. Terrorists, Islamo-fanatics, it doesn't matter. The unholy alliance of progressive communists and Islamo-fanatics I talked about yesterday, hat tip David Horowitz for the term. That unholy alliance is unbroken until America falls apart, then they'll fight each other. Here's an interview yesterday on Piers Morgan's show with another lunatic, this Max Blumenthal. He's asked a simple question. Yeah, listen, I'm not getting to Piers. Do you love Piers or not? People, some people like me, hate me, whatever. He just asked a pretty simple question. He's like, hey, man, is there anything negative you can say about the Iranian regime? Justin, I have a couple negative things. The whole VBIED attacks and war theaters in the Middle East, the multiple terror attacks, the taking of our embassy, Beirut, the Marine barracks, the mass killing of innocent civilians. That's a good one. I didn't want to leave that one out. The imprisonment, torture of Iranian freedom fighters. There's a couple right there, just off the top of my head, folks. I don't know, 4 or 5. I promise you, if you put in ChatGPT or Gemini or something like that, you put in there, tell us some bad things the Iranian regime's done. Even the liberal woke ones will tell you, there's a couple bad things there. Not Max Blumenthal. He thinks it's like a trick question. He really doesn't think that. Watch him play word games. We had to fast forward to this. These are some, we actually leave the jump in. I promise you, you're not missing anything. It's just a BS back and forth because he can't think of anything bad. Because as long as the violence is directed at Americans, apologists will apologize for it. Check this out.
Just give me one bad thing about the Iranian regime.
I will, but let me just say that we have filed a lawsuit.
Just one bad thing.
We have filed a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security. Janine Eunice is leading this lawsuit for the Arab American Anti-Discrimination
Committee. Just to answer my question.
And after that lawsuit was filed,
just one bad thing.
I'm not a big kebab guy, but the kebab is great. Iranians are having a robust debate, and it's up to us to leave them alone.
Thanks. Just one more time. Give me one bad thing about the Iranian regime.
I just did.
What was it?
I mean, what kind of game is this? That one bad thing about Iran. Again,
Just give me
Iran
about the
is
regime.
not our enemy. Where I'm supposed to say one bad thing
Can you think of one?
about them.
One? Only want one.
Oh, are you going to get one?
Do I get one?
Can you think about one bad thing about phone hacking?
You couldn't say one? I think viewers can
Would you even call
viewers
the
can make their own minds up.
I mean,
Max
this is
Blumenthal,
it. You wouldn't even
I've got to
call
leave it there.
UK
I gave you
regime.
multiple chances. You couldn't
Would
think
you
of a
call the
single
UK a regime?
bad thing
You live
to
under
say
a regime.
about
You
the
are part of a
Iranian
regime. You
regime.
enforce
So we're going to
the
leave it
regime.
there. Max
Would you
Blumenthal,
call the UK
thank you.
This is the craziest interview I've seen in weeks. You can't name one bit. Folks, I love America. 250 years, freedom, liberty, and kicking ass. I am passionate about this country. You ask me, hey, has America ever done a bad thing? Yeah, we have. Jim Crow, slavery. I mean, we've got stains too. We've had things we've had to clean up. 3/5 compromise. I mean, we've had a ton of bad things, but we try to fix them and get to an end point, correct? That's what makes us different. The Iranians have never fixed anything. They have the number one foamy finger, death to America, kill the infidels. It's never changed. It said the same thing for as long as there's been a Persian Empire. Kebabs. That's tell me something bad about phone hacking. Your data is compromised. There you go. It's not hard. Now, there you go. Do the same thing. Do you see what I'm talking about? They will apologize. Listen to me. Here is the takeaway. The unholy alliance people, progressive communists, the same thing. They're the same thing. And the Islamo fanatics and the left-wing media provides cover for them, have one goal: to take down the United States by any means necessary. As long as the violence works for them to destabilize the United States, whether it's from the Iranians or BLM, they will apologize for it and excuse it because it meets their end goal, which is very simple: the destruction of the greatest country on earth. That's it. That's it. And they will use any vehicle to get there. Communism, Nazism, they don't care. They won't apologize for Nazis. They just ran a guy in Maine who won a primary with a freaking Nazi tattoo. Again, put the crack rock down. It's really bad for you. Put it down. Friends don't let friends do crack rock. Don't do the crack rock. I used to be a cop in the 7-5 precinct, 2 o'clock in the morning. It'd be 30 degrees. You'd see the dude out there on crack rock. You'd be like, man, that guy's got 3 legs. That's not 3 legs. He's naked. It's 2 in the morning. It's 20 degrees. What is he? You'd have to put this guy in EDP him, emotionally disturbed person. Don't do the crack rock. You can't find one negative thing about the Iranians. You can, you just don't want to, because they're useful for you. Violence against us. Once you see the op, you'll never unsee it. I told you. That's why President Trump is a 10x smarter than these other idiots. He knows exactly what they're doing with the International Criminal Court, using the Netanyahu red hair. Netanyahu, once you mention the Jews in Israel, they don't really care. That's just a tool for them. All right, quick break, and I want to show you this. You want to see what a liberal meltdown looks like? Why are these people so emotionally unstable, and why do they always look like this? Did you see the pronoun guy, the video in the New York Post? I'm not unnecessarily teasing this, am I? This is like, yeah, and you'll see what I mean. We can't run a country like this with people we just can't. Quick break. Hey, let me tell you something. When you sign up for your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. They shake your hand, you get a commission there, you pass it over, and they're done. Then you may not hear from them until it's time for renewal. Well, that's not good. Your business runs all year, like mine does. So do the gaps and the risks to your business. That's why I'm introducing you to Super Sure. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just buy a policy online. Super Sure is the super agency built for you. Licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and for your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts, which translates your current policy into plain English so you can see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth and know what needs protecting. Go to supersure.com/Bongino. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. That's supersure.com/Bongino. Consult with a licensed insurance producer to discuss coverage options for your specific business needs. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency. Thank you, Supersure. Today's show also brought to you by Brickhouse Nutrition. Folks, let me just ask you a simple question. You need to lose a few lbs, getting a little doughy around the middle. It happened to me. I was like, I can't do this anymore. My knees were starting to hurt. Everything was starting to hurt. My pull-ups went down. I was about 238 pounds after I went through the whole cancer thing. I was eating a lot I overshot by a lot. I looked terrible. Called up Miles at Brickhouse Nutrition. Said, Miles, tell me you got something coming out. He's like, I do. It's a product called Lean. Pretty simple. You want to get lean? Try Lean. You know those weight loss injections, they can be good for some people, but they're not for everyone. About 15% of users quit because of the cost. Another 15% stop because of the side effects. I use Lean. That's what me and Paula use. It got me lean, keeps me lean, from Brickhouse Nutrition. Weight loss shots work by helping control blood sugar and appetite, so you eat less. There's no argument. Shots can work for many people. Lean was doctor formulated to do similar things naturally. Lean helps tackle my hunger and helps control and support steady energy without constant cravings. Lean did something injections don't. It helped my body turn fat into energy, so I burn fat instead of storing it. Results are there. I'm down to yesterday I was 202, which is great. My favorite part, Lean is a nutritional supplement, not a shot, no prescriptions, no needles. I lost weight with Lean. You can see it yourself, and I believe you can too. Go to brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Use promo code Dan for 20% off. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. The products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. It's not a substitute or alternative for care from a healthcare provider. brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Check out Lean. Thank you, guys. This is what I'm talking about, folks. When you feed people agitprop propaganda, some from overseas, we discussed President Trump's speech on Thursday where he talked about a massive Chinese Communist Party information op going on in the United States. Russia's been doing it for a long time. There have been Middle Eastern countries that have been doing it for a long time. You've seen that. Yesterday they exposed the Cuban interface here, some South and Central American influence operations. And by the way, you may say, isn't all of this stuff illegal? If you register through FARA, this Foreign Agent Registration Act, it's not illegal to lobby the United States government. What they're talking about, President Trump, is subterfuge, where this stuff isn't announced. It's like agitprop. This is what you get. You get a bunch of people who just, these outbursts you're seeing over and over again. There's this confrontation on this campus here with this guy who believes he's been misgendered. Did you see this video? It's gone viral. Check this out.
What's the problem?
Why do you let those kids get away with this? They are not supposed to be here!
If you don't lower your voice, I am going to put handcuffs on you and I'm going to take you to a Baker Act facility. You lower your voice.
Try it.
Are you threatening me? Can we get another unit to deal with Jay Lee here? He is having a breakdown.
Say! Just say the right pronoun!
What'd you say?
He's got to compress that in my ear. I think I lost my hearing in this one.
You're about to get sprayed.
No, just
get down on the ground right now.
Leave me alone!
What is with the blue hair?
Leave me alone, please!
Okay, are you going to calm down?
I want to be away from
No, it's too late now. It's too late now. He's going to be taken away.
Say!
Oh, my gosh.
He's taken.
I just want to
need
get away
protection.
from
Someone
him.
call Harry Sisson.
He needs
Say! Say! Stop misgendering me! Just say she!
Alpha 7-3.
Please step in. Watch your head.
All right. Why are these people so angry? Last night, I have the Paramount app, and the app for some reason wasn't working on my Samsung TV. So I had been, you guys watch Landman? I was into season 3, and the app broke like 6 months ago or so. Well, right before I came back on the air, and I just kind of gave up, not because I don't like the show, but the app just wasn't working, and I just forget. Muttley's are going crazy in the chat. I forgot. So, we ran out of shows to watch, my wife and I. So last night she's like, hey, give the Paramount app a shot. I promise this is going somewhere. And Landman worked. So we started watching it. And I just saw the episode. You know the one I'm talking about? Where Billy Bob Thornton's, yes, the roommate in college. And it's the same thing. The roommate is trans. And it's like, this is my safe space. Like the fact that aired on TV, like Taylor Sheridan has balls of steel to put that out there. But why are they so angry? I hate asking questions I don't have the answer to. In this case, I didn't. I have the answer. I need to jump ahead a little bit and hold AOC for a second. The Don Lemon, the Nazi comparison. This is why. It's not hard to figure out. Why are these people so angry? The answer is they've been fed a bunch of slop down their throats like ipecac syrup, yet they don't throw up. It's like they enjoy it. They're like, man, you're fighting the Nazis, the fascists, the bad guys, the totalitarians. You know, Donald Trump's a racist, bigot, fascist, Nazi. When you're told that every single day, folks, it's not hard to understand why people who do no homework on any of those statements actually believe this and want to burn down 26 Fed and start screaming, shay. What the was that? That is a totally irrational response from what appears to be an adult. Well, you wouldn't be rational either if you thought you were living amongst Nazi racist fascists. Here's a clip from the Don Lemon show. Exactly. They just ran a guy in Maine who had an actual Nazi tattoo. You would think they would be like, hey, we got a problem. We got to clean this up. Nope. This is pure projection right here. Check this out.
I think that once Donald Trump is gone, it's the end of MAGA. I don't know if it's the end of that sort of attitude. I mean, the MAGA is the closest thing to the modern version of a Nazi party. This is America's version. It's the closest thing without the Holocaust and all that stuff. That sort of mindset. That's what MAGA is, because most intelligent people or logical people, when they get new information, and if that information is negative or not factual, then they change their minds. They go, oh, well, I wish I had known better. And now that I have this information, then I can readjust. No matter what no matter how many facts and how much information you give them about this presidency, about the policies, they don't change their minds, because they're really not voting for the price of eggs. They're voting for white supremacy. They're voting for power. They're voting to have a preeminent voice. They're afraid of, they've been co-opted by many people in the Republican Party and Donald Trump to think that their failures are due to something else, the other, the black person, the woman, the Latino, the immigrant, the migrant. That person is taking your job. That person is the reason that you don't have the financial or career success that you think that you should have. It's because of them. We want to take our country back. That's what MAGA is.
Holy Moses, you believe the inversion of logic? Folks, did you catch what he said at the end? It's the most important part. The Nazi shit we've all heard before. I don't want to hear it ever again from a leftist. We have done yeoman's work cleaning up imposters in our movement. The last 6 months, I've dedicated my life to it. It's not an easy conversation to have because some people fake it really well. So you can cut that bullshit right out. You just ran Nazi tattoo guy and he won your primary. The only reason you got rid of him is because his polling was down. Did you catch at the end? He's like, the right, these MAGA people, they do the othering, like your financial failures are the cause of others, and they create victims. Are you, again, brother, put the crack pipe down. That is the founding ideology of modern progressive liberalism is victim ideology. The trans guy, I don't have any right. What rights? You're in a college in the middle of one of the most prosperous states in the union, Florida. What are you talking about? We played that video a couple weeks ago where those ladies interview the woman. She's like, I'm black and I'm gay and I have no rights. They're like, well, what rights don't you have? Couldn't name one. Couldn't name one. That is the founding ideology of the modern progressive liberal movement, is you're a victim of someone. And you see how they totally inverted? We're the exact opposite of that. We're going to talk to Dr. Bill coming up in a little bit about how this was a revolutionary idea we were founded on. The idea that all men are created equal with inalienable rights. This was a revolutionary. They don't believe in any of that. Folks, and they're brand ambassadors in this influencer era right now. You have these brand ambassadors where people who have no life skills whatsoever. I'm not getting it because I'm a capitalist. And if, Jano Bag of Donuts wants to go out on Instagram and become famous for being Jano Bag of Donuts, I'm not good for you. If that's what the market demands, go for it. But a lot of companies have latched onto this influencer culture where they're like, hey, I have this handbag, whatever, Gucci or whatever it may be. We'll pay you to be a brand ambassador. Like for what? I don't understand how that appeals to people. What do I care if, Janie Bag of Donuts is good looking on Instagram, wears a bag? Like, who gives a shit? But it works. The brand ambassadors for the left are the exact same. They have no life skills, no critical thinking skills at all. And suckers on the left who all have the green hair and all this stuff, they fall for this stuff. Here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The very same left, like the Don Lemons and others, that'll criticize some guy wearing a sombrero on Cinco de Mayo for cultural appropriation. They'll lose their minds. I can't believe you culturally, what a racist. The very same zeros and dipshits that'll do that have no problem with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I don't know if you caught this yesterday. On her now, 15th different accent? Now she's from the South. And here's the kicker. You guys, you missed this yesterday. If you saw this on cable news, let's see who in the chat catch it. Me and Justin both missed it until we didn't. I played this clip 3-4 times, and at the end we were like, wait, there's something in this that's especially appealing to the people who dance and act and bullshit people for a living. Listen to AOC, the queen of the bullshitters, who's now faking her, again, 15th or 20th accent. She's Southern now. You're going to see her at the Iron Bowl this year or something. I think it's in Tuscaloosa. Check this out.
We cannot afford to leave Tennessee behind. We cannot afford to leave Kentucky behind, Alabama behind, Mississippi behind, Georgia behind, South Carolina behind.
I'm sorry, I'm watching the chat to see who caught it. No, what is it? Someone's got to catch this. We got 50,000 people here. Someone catch it. I can only give it no, I can't believe it. We just caught it at the end. All right, I'll give it to you. That's what I'm here for. Who is she campaigning for? Justin, you want to help him out? Yes! Justin J. Pearson, dancing guy. Did you I swear I missed it. So I'm with you guys. You've only seen it once. I had to see it 2 or 3 times because you get so distracted by the horrendous rendition of a Southern accent. It's not even good. I always tell you I love the South, but I never fake the funk. How many times, that's with an N, how many times have I said to you all, I ask respectfully to my Southern brothers and sisters, because I love you so much, please take me in as your adopted son. I don't fake a Southern accent. I'm a Yankee. She's out there campaigning for dancing guy, Justin J. Pearson. This guy, while doing the fake Southern accent. Folks, you live in Tennessee. Please don't tell me you're getting played by this. I know you're not. I love Tennessee. Been there many times. There is no way. Morgan Wallen, help us out. There is no, write a song about this or something. There is no way you're being taken by this bullshit act. When we saw it, I'm like, this can't be. Is this the dancing guy? I had to look it up twice just to be sure. Justin J. Pearson. Folks, why, given that stupid we know is a choice, correct? With the advent and explosion of AI, I can't say this enough. If you're an 85 IQ person, okay, and you work hard, God loves you like anyone else. You've got other gifts. Not everything is your intelligence quotient. But whereas you can't overcome a strength deficit, I mean, you can use robotics and tools. However, if you're kind of stuck. You can overcome an intelligence deficit. You're given a surrogate brain with the explosion in AI. In other words, what I'm getting at is there is no reason to be stupid. If you want to go farm with a hoe and not mechanical, you're going to take 2,000 times as long as a farmer with technology tools. You have to go spend money. A lot of these open source models are just free. There's no excuse to be stupid anymore. You can go and look this stuff up. But when you have brand ambassadors and influencers, not leaders, like AOC and dancing guy Justin Pearson, and you choose them, you've chosen the road of stupid. And that's how you get things like this. Nate Friedman went out and did a man on the street interview. And he asked this socialist DSA guy, like, hey, man, give us your elevator pitch for socialism. You got 2 floors to go. Someone's stuck in the elevator with you. It's a business term. And you got to sell me in a minute or two between floors. Give me your pitch for socialism. This may be the single dumbest explanation for socialism. The guy doesn't even know, or is faking not knowing, that socialism and socializing are not the same thing. Bro, you saw it, right? Justin's laughing. He thinks it's the same word. Stupid is a choice. You don't have to be stupid. You don't have to follow influencers and brand ambassadors like AOC and Dancing Guy. You can do your own homework. Yeah, you think I'm making this up? Watch this yourself.
More than half of young Americans now prefer socialism over capitalism. So if you can look into the camera and give a 30-second elevator pitch on why socialism is better than capitalism.
Community. Are you tired of sitting alone and being by yourself and having no one to talk to? Being a socialist is all about community. It's about literally sitting down and having coffee with a random stranger and talking to them, talking about the game. Hell, I have hugged more strangers in this past summer because of the Knicks game, because of the World Cup, because socialism works. It ain't a scary word. It ain't me taking your house. It's about me making sure your house remains in your hands and some millionaire doesn't take it from you. That's it.
That's not exactly what socialism is, but you can understand why it sounds attractive. The pitch is simple. I'm going to stop your rent from going up. I'm going to protect you from the greedy landlords, and I'm going to keep you in your home. Yet it's under the socialist Mamdani where the median rent in New York City just hit an all-time high of nearly $5,300 a month. This is how it happens. First, Mamdani freezes the rent for nearly 1 million apartments. That means the landlord is legally blocked from raising prices, even if there's repairs or higher taxes. So some landlords can't afford to maintain the apartment. Then comes the final step. The government takes control and they call it social housing. But it just means the state uses the crisis it helped create as the excuse to take private property away from the owner. The most important thing is that in his pitch, he doesn't need any facts about socialism being better, which comes in handy because it's never worked.
Yes! Yes! The gifts of socialism, of course, we use that term laughingly. One of them is the stupid choice, the stupid exit on the highway. This guy can just look it up. But he doesn't because he follows influencer brand ambassadors like AOC and Mamdani who go out there and say things like, buy this bag, and inside the bag is a pile of dog shit. And people buy it anyway, like, ignore the smell. You can just look it up. Mamdani, we need more rent control. Just put in a freaking surrogate brain AI. Has this actually worked anywhere? If a person who owns property can't get a return on the property, why would he put money into the property? Only idiots will explain that away by, well, we get to socialize and hang out at like a Knicks game. That's socialism. And I love how he uses the word literally, the idiot explaining socialism, when he's really explaining socializing. He's like, it literally means I can hang out with people. Yeah, you will. I take that back. He's correct. Justin's like, you just refuted your own point. No, I didn't. You do get to hang out with people in a gulag. You go get hung, you're strung up behind your back. They like cut your fingers off and stuff like that. You get to hang out with people. It's just not at the Knicks game. It's not at the Knicks. And the game ain't fun. It's like, how many digits can we cut off before he bleeds to death? It's like some... It's like, why do you, really, one of the greatest gifts of socialism is the stupid ramp off the highway. It's like the mask. Justin's like, oh, no, I promise I'm going to... The mask was great for everyone during COVID. It showed you who the morons were. The problem with socialism is they hide among us like ninjas. It's like until you actually put a mic in front of them, you don't know who the idiots are. You thought I was going there, didn't you? I know. Some of you are laughing, the P1s. You know me with the mask. The mask was the greatest gift to anyone. It was. It was. It showed you instantly who the stupid people were, right? When we were like, after the initial panic wore off, I saw the mask. I knew to cross the street. I didn't want to be infected. If they had a stupid virus, like some prion, I didn't want it. So I instantly crossed the street. Again, with a mask on. Justin saw a woman in a convertible with a mask on. Man, I don't know how she breathed. How'd she get air in? That mask has got her sealed off. Folks, people like AOC, influencer politicians, brand managers and brand ambassador politicians who were ambassadors for the brand of socialism and tyranny, a lot of them are doing this to you intentionally. I'm not sure Justin Pearson, dancing guy, is. He doesn't seem too bright based on some of his arguments. AOC either. But Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are not stupid. This is not a compliment, folks, by the way. Don't take it that way. The people who are brand ambassadors for communism, socialism, and tyranny fall in two camps. Deliberately misleading people through propaganda. And second, the stupid ones who just can't do any homework or don't want to because they're just lazy and stupid. AOC is probably in the latter camp. But there is a very serious, listen to me, please, like Miss Lock-in, this is really critical. There are things I can say and things I can't say. It's fairly obvious. But one thing I'm comfortable saying now, especially after President Trump's speech on Thursday night, which everyone should go back and watch in full. Don't buy the left-wing interpretation of the speech. Watch it yourself. And I'm absolutely comfortable putting this out there. There is a massive repository of foreign funds going in now to the United States to influence you through social media and elsewhere. And the influence campaign is to get you to hate this country and its institutions. The president's not kidding. I've seen it. I've lived it. It is for real. There are a number of operations going on right now. I want to hear from nothing and say, you don't know squat. I heard some obese comedian yesterday, like, again, the typical like moron D-bag who doesn't know anything about it. You have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. It's a very organized effort to try and stop some of this. You're starting to hear about it more now. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to drag it. Here's a clip yesterday from Fox. It's not just Russia and China. This is also coming from communist proxy countries as well, communist institutions in Cuba as well. Check this out.
ICAP, the People's Forum, Democratic Socialists of America, National Lawyers Guild, National Network on Cuba. It's one thing to say that the Cuban regime poses a national security threat to the United States, something you and the Secretary say all the time. It is another to say they're actually interfering or trying to interfere in the U.S. political system.
Well, the National Network on Cuba, for example, issued a rapid response plan calling for agitation and resistance, publishing the location of ICE facilities, of military installations. That gives one powerful example of this network. We also see from Cuban-linked groups, we're seeing fomentation of protests and other violent activity. And then we see other Cuban-linked groups then bail those that are in jail for violent activity, bail them out of prison to release them back onto American streets. This report details a decades-long influence and espionage campaign that continues to this day and really is an untold story. It's a story where we hear bits and pieces here and there, but presents this as the network that it is linked to the Cuban regime, both ideologically, through logistical support, and as the nexus, the node of a network of far-left extremism that is undermining the security of the United States of America.
That was Tommy Pigott, Marco Rubio's spokesperson at the State Department. You think Rubio's making that up? Folks, let me ask you again, for the nothing is happening D-bags out there, anti-American dipshits who are either too stupid or too ignorant to understand. Tommy Pigott says something right there. They launched this now. The timing is not accidental. And did you notice what he said, Justin? He said it was an untold story. Why was the story untold? Because communists, liberals, and progressives inside prior Democratic administrations and probably establishment Republican administrations were just uncomfortable putting it out there because they just didn't want you to know, because some of their common goals were to take down the United States, even though they were part of it. It took a lot of work to uncover some of this stuff. They don't just say, I'm an influence op. You don't get a paid partnership thing under a foreign influence op. It took work to do that, and it's going to take work to dismantle it. It's never going to stop. Foreign enemies of the United States have been doing this for a long time to promote the unholy alliance. But again, I get tired of hearing from losers who never sacrificed a single effing thing in their entire lives, eating their freaking ho-hos and ding-dongs, talking about like what everyone else who actually did. And they don't even know about it. There's a reason this is all coming out. It's not an accident. They are trying to break up desperately. The president, Marco Rubio, the administration, the FBI, the agency, and elsewhere are desperately trying to break up and fight back against this just mammoth-like effort by foreign countries to get us to implode from the inside. There is so much money and so many people who've been advertently and inadvertently bought off. You've seen it. They work through surrogates sometimes. You think you're doing, you're in whatever, Podcastistan or whatever, and you get a solicitation from whatever, AmericaFirst.inc, and they're like, hey, can you promote? You don't realize some of it's a proxy for a foreign operation. It's happened over and over. This stuff is real because they want to promote these foreign governments, the disintegration from the inside. And the best way to do it is to promote the unholy alliance of the liberal communist left and the Islamo-fanatics. There's no better example of this than Linda Sarsour. You may know the name. I think the woman's insane. I think her ideas are crazy. But I want you to listen to this clip, how she makes this sound so wonderful. They are very, very good at organizing. This unholy alliance of Islamo-fanatics and progressive communists are extremely good at organizing. They're winning races everywhere. Don't just think it's a New York thing. Colorado, the potential race in Arizona today. Arizona. They are very good at organizing. Check this out.
This is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. This is quote unquote America's birthday. And the question historically is going to be, what were we doing on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence? Do we have the audacity to sit around and say that we want to build a document that is our values and our principles and bring millions of Americans around it? And so I see people on the streets. I see mutual aid efforts. I see young people running for office. I see people of color, marginalized people getting up and saying, I'm the leader that I've been waiting for, and seeing people rally around those leaders. And so don't give up hope, folks. There's more to come. We're going to survive this. And some of us are going to be on the fight back, and some of us are going to be on the other side waiting to catch you when we win, because there got to be other people that are going to be building the thing that you're going to come to once we win this fight back, because we will win, my friend. So
hat tip at Canary Mission. Great follow on X for exposing this stuff, the canary in the coal mine. Did you catch what she said there? Folks, why is this seemingly milquetoast clip, if you don't pay close attention? Why am I putting it on the show? Because it's not milquetoast at all. This is burnt toast. What did she say there? There's this battle going on, and when we win and get rid of this old stuff, and what's the old stuff she references? Justin brought up a good point. He says, at least she knows it's the 250th anniversary. She may have just looked it up on Gemini. She's talking about the Declaration of Independence and basically moving on in a new fight. Moving on from what? The Declaration of Inalienable Rights for every child of God? Move on to what? A tyrannical Islamo-fanatic regime where the infidels are killed? Explain what exactly in specifics you're talking about. You see the Islamo nuts and the progressive commies, how they're both spouting the same talking points?
And say that we want to build a document that is our values and our principles,
really?
And bring
A new
millions of
document.
Americans around it. And so I see
A new document. A new document. What exactly is that document? Is it the Quran or something? Because that's not the kind of document like we're looking to build a governing system on. Listen to Brother Dan. The unholy alliance is real. And if you're one of these people who got emotional about it, and you just fell in the trap, there's still time to repent and save yourself, your kids, and your country. By the way, folks, I'm not dicking around when I tell you this. I say this to Democrats who understand that we may have a different set of ideas on the Second Amendment and taxes. I get it. Maybe I can't convince you, but I hope I can convince you to this, that these people in your party are coming after you next. You think Linda Sarsour and the people there, part of this unholy alliance, are going to leave you out of it if you don't subscribe fully to their agenda? Again, put the crack rock down. Crack is whack. And then you've got the hijacking of our education system. So you basically have liberal progressive commies, Islamo fanatics. You have the left-wing media that covers for them with people like Don Lemon and others. And then you have the education system, K through 12 right now and beyond, fully indoctrinating our kids to ignore facts and believe socializing is socialism. Why do they believe that? Because you've got the head of the teachers union. These are the people, some of them. I thank you to the great teachers out there. I'm not stereotyping all of you, so I refuse to accept that. I've always spoke positively of great teachers in my life. But to the ones pumping left-wing syrup of Ipecac down our children's throats, you are part of the problem. Matter of fact, you are the problem. Listen to this lunatic, Randy Weingart, the single most destructive educational figure in modern American history. She has destroyed countless lives. Listen to her, the rantings and ravings of a lunatic. And now you see why idiots like that DSA guy believe socializing is socialism. Check this out.
Protest together, to vote together, to act together, to bring about change. Real, lasting, life-improving change. That is the power and potential of our movement and of the AFT.
That lady's educating your kids, man. Folks, you've got those 4 legs on that stool. Dangerous. The commies, the Islamo-Nazis, the media, the corrupted education system. I don't want you to be pessimistic. We will fight back, and we are. We now have, with the democratization of the internet, we have a bevy of tools to fight back. I don't want you to sit there depressed. But we're going to talk in a minute with Dr. Bill McClay about the revolutionary generation, what they went through. The sacrifices we're asked are small. You'll get into some Twitter fights and things like that, maybe a back and forth with your neighbor once in a while about how Obama sucked or something like that. That is a small price to pay to try to survive the winter in Valley Forge with no shoes, eating like shoe leather and pigeons or rats, whatever lived. Folks, I haven't brought up the Nothing is Happening file in a long time. However, I do want to bring this up because, again, you got doomers and grifters and bums and losers who never do a single thing, sacrifice for their country at all. All they do is talk shit on the internet all day. I really do laugh at these people. I'm not kidding. Like, I snicker at it. That's why I don't sit here on the show and over-explain everything. However, we brought the World Cup to the United States. It was a tremendous success, but it was a security nightmare. Cash did an interesting interview with Fox. I encourage you to read it. Because I saw a bunch of people like, oh my gosh, I'd rather be, as if the other thing isn't happening too. They know that. They're just being dickheads. But the fact that the United States pulled this off and showcased the greatness of America to the world, throw up that article if you want. And there were no significant terror attacks or security incidents is incredible. We haven't used this one in a while. We're adding to the Nothing is Happening. I was wondering, I'm like, why is he waiting? Patel details how the agency and partners secured record-shattering FIFA World Cup. Big hat tip to the Secret Service as well and all the partner agencies. It wasn't exclusively by any stretch an FBI operation. Secret Service did a great job. State and locals did. But folks, this is the United States. You should be proud. Not that anybody deserves like endless backslaps over it, but they pulled off basically 78 Super Bowls. Everybody came here and loved it. And it's our job to do that. You pay the federal government, the state, local, tribal, territorial law enforcement agencies to keep everything secure. I always said in the Secret Service, it's a thankless job because no one ever says, hey, thanks for keeping the president alive. And that's okay. It's the way it should be. But I think it's worth noting that President Trump wanted this. He wants it again. And we can do it like no one else. So good job from them. But I saw some people like whining about it. I'm like, the doomers and grifters. It's just so useless to listen to these assholes. Guys who've never done a single freaking thing in their lives or sacrificed one moment of their time. They wouldn't give up their show. They wouldn't give up $1 to go do it. It's embarrassing. You really go sit with mommy. Let's roast your s'mores and eat your Hot Pockets in the basement. Let the adults handle this. All right, I'm going to take a quick break here. We got to do the comment of the day first. Take a quick break. Man, I need you to please check this interview out. Folks, it's about 15 minutes long. It is so worth your time. Dr. Bill McClay from Hillsdale, just talking about how the revolutionary generation were legit badasses. I'm not writing a script for an Amazon Prime show. I'm just telling you it's true. These people who hate our country, I don't think you understand how we got here. It's an incredible story. So unlikely. You know the rules for our Bongino 1776 Club? All you got to do is join the show live. Make a comment. If we pick your comment, we're giving away a $1,776 cash prize to somebody watching the show. It's free. Win the comment of the day. You're in the weekly drawing. One of you wins a cash prize every week. The official rules at Bongino.com/1776. Today's comment of the day is Thai pie. Sorry, my eyesight's terrible. The Sunday people will get to hang with the Saturday people in the gulag. You are damn right, sir or ma'am. I'm glad you see it. I just wish the other gullible people would see it too. All right, quick break. Today's show brought to you by Byrna. You know, I'm asked often, what I do for my personal security situation. And one of the options I have is Byrna, B-Y-R-N-A. I have a couple of Byrnas they sent me. Let me tell you, I trust it. The guys have one too. Byrna's less than lethal launcher fires powerful kinetic and chemical rounds that can incapacitate an attacker for up to 30 minutes. This could give you time to get away, call for help. Byrna's has this new compact launcher as well. It's about the size of a smartphone. It's a great device. It's easy to carry, easy to use. There's no background check required. The Byrna CL fires up to 400 feet per second with serious stopping power and was designed to help with de-escalation, not devastation. Byrna is proudly American, assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. More than 750,000 Byrna launches are already in the hands of law enforcement and responsible citizens who want protection without tragedy. If you believe in being prepared and you also believe in restraint, Byrna is for you. Go to Byrna.com and learn more, B-Y-R-N-A. And welcoming to the show, check this out. Kickoff. We're halfway through the year. There's still plenty of time to make progress on your credit goals with Kickoff. Kickoff. One of my favorite things about Kickoff is how easy it makes building credit for you. You can sign up in just minutes from your phone with no credit check, no hidden fees, and no interest, and start working towards a stronger financial future. Trusted by more than 1 million users. Check this out. Kickoff is helping people build credit with confidence. Why do so many people choose Kickoff? Users who started with credit scores below 600 grew an average of 86 points just by paying on time. Start building credit with Kickoff today. Get your first month for as little as $1. That's 80% off the normal price when you go to getkickoff.com/Bongino today. Check them out. That's Kickoff without the C. That's getkickoff.com/Bongino. Kickoff must sign up via getkickoff.com/Bongino to activate offer. Offer applies to new Kickoff customers first month only. Subject to approval, offer subject to change. Average first-year credit score impact of plus 86 points between August of 2024 and August 2025 for Kickoff credit accounts users who started with a score below 600, paid on time, and had no delinquencies or collections added during that period. Late payments may negatively impact your credit score. Individual results may vary. Visit getkickoff.com/Bongino for terms today. Welcoming to the show, I'm fascinated with American history. I love this country. I believe it's been touched by the hand of God. Dr. Bill McClay, professor of history at Hillsdale College. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long time. Dr. Bill, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you.
It's great to be with you, Dan.
So you understand, being a professor of history, that this country, we've been blessed. There's no dispute. Who you believe blessed, it is up to you, but we've been blessed. But one of the current debates going on right now, it's gotten really hot, especially amongst the younger generation, is this socialism versus free markets and capitalism debate. I just look at this transactionally and analytically. I try not to get emotional about it. And I ask people, can you give me a successful example of socialism, where the government owns and controls the means of production in the economy, that has ever worked. Because I can give you a ton of examples of free markets, America and elsewhere, where that's worked just exceptionally. There don't seem to be any good examples of socialism, yet the ideology persists.
Yeah, funny thing about that. Well, I mean, I think that the people who were drawn to socialism and to the siren song of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and lesser figures like the current mayor of New York and so on, they don't know any history. They don't know any current events. They don't really know that even Sweden is moving away from socialist policies that have been bankrupting them. And so the trend line around the world of people who've actually experienced socialism is always towards tyranny and then the collapse of the regimes. I think there's maybe a special moment right now that we're actually very prosperous. The economy is doing as well as ever, and I don't think that when the president talks about it in the superlative terms he likes to use, that he's far off from the truth. It's a really good time for a lot of things, and they're getting better as we get more energy independent and solve some of the world's problems. But young people who are having a hard time, especially college graduates, they're hard time launching in life. And their expectations are unrealistic. When I came out of college, it was the 70s, very bad time, economically speaking, and I had to kind of make my way for a few years, and it doesn't kill you to take a job that's below what your skill set would determine, unless you have a major in women's studies or gender studies, in which case you sort of deserve what you get. But there's that sense that you can't just sort of walk into a really great white-collar job that pays six figures just coming because you went to a prestigious college. That dies hard for a lot of people, especially when they move to New York after they graduate and discover that they're paying 10 times the amount in rent that they paid in their hometown, and they can't meet their expenses. And, socialism is a charmer in the sense that it offers an answer to this. We have an inequitable distribution of wealth because really smart, ambitious, entrepreneurial people like Elon Musk, an immigrant, have made fantastic fortunes creating things that people want and that perform important functions in our economy and the world's economy. So they deserve the wealth that comes to them from their inventiveness, from their persuasiveness, their persistence, their innovation. And on the one hand, I'm a Harvard major in gender studies. The world sort of owes me something, and I get a guaranteed job. And I think it's a hard fall for a lot of this generation to see the reality of what in a very rapidly changing job market, and who knows what AI is going to do to a lot of these white-collar jobs that may not need to have human beings filling them. So it's scary, and the idea that we could just sort of stop things and redistribute all of this fantastic this disparity of wealth is appealing. What they never take into account is the inevitable human corruption that comes when you have agencies of government redistributing wealth, and it becomes violent, it becomes repressive, it becomes oppressive. It ultimately squelches the creative energies of an economy. And we have chapter and verse on the history of this in a variety of countries in a variety of time periods. Look, even Latin America is going free market across the board. I mean, there's just a few holdouts. in Latin America.
Nicaragua being one of them, where they're now canceling. This is what happens with socialism every time. Ortega's canceling presidential elections because, God forbid, people have a vote. Yes. They won't vote to forfeit their own liberty. But I want to get to. I want to make sure we get to the good news here. So this is really important. We're talking about the bad news, the rise of the recurrent rise of socialism and the incredible marketing ability of these lunatics who keep promoting this failed ideology. But it is the 250th anniversary of the power of free markets, liberty, when in the course of human events, and we the people, our great founding documents. It's such a binary. I mean, we've only been around for 250 years, which as a professor of history is not a long time. China measures that in multiples. I mean, you have countries in Europe that 4, 5, 10 times as long as we have, and yet we're number one. There's no disputing that. GDP, military power, global dominance, we're number one. But there was no guarantee in the beginning, Dr. Bill, that this was going to happen. We should never have won the Revolutionary War. If you were a bettor on DraftKings or like one of these prediction platforms, we were probably 1,000 to 1 odds we would lose the Revolutionary War to the powerful British Empire with their navy. And in the War of 1812, the odds were probably just a little bit less, and yet we're still here.
Oh, yeah, 1812, that was a crazy thing for us to do, and we got out by the skin of our teeth. But no, and I think you've mentioned before the aspect of divine intervention here. Let me say this about the revolution, that I think one of the reasons we have been so successful is that we are the first nation in human history to enshrine in one of our foundational documents, the Declaration of Independence, the biblical idea that man is made in the image of God. And that's present implicitly in the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, which means unalienable means you can't even give them away. It is what you are. They're part of our essential nature is to have these rights. I think this comes very close to one of the ways that you can understand the idea that we're made in the image of God, which is in the book of Genesis, and it's a base of Jewish and Christian understanding of human anthropology. So there you go. At the very beginning, at the very outset of American history, you have this statement about our fundamental equality in the eyes of God, and are being endowed with rights that no one can take away, no one can even give away. They're inherent in our created nature. That's very powerful, and as you say, it is a basis for individual liberty, individual dignity, the dignity of the human person, the dignity of all life, which is crashing all around us in Canada, in Europe. New York City is also apparently going for an assisted suicide bill. That's what they call medical assistance in dying. Talk about a euphemism. So we have stood for the dignity of life, of human life, of individual human life. And that's right from the beginning. So that would be a reason for Providence, as George Washington, he never liked to say God. He always liked to say Providence with a capital T, to smile on us because we have stood for the utmost in human dignity at a real juncture in American history, in world history, in the human history. 1776 is a moment in human history that we should cherish, not just we Americans, because it's a breakthrough.
And I don't think people who just casually follow history, it's no fault. People are busy. They're not going to sit, and people are raising their kids and working. I understand not everybody has the time. And I'm just obsessed with this topic. I'm not sure people grasp how life-changing and game-changing the idea of individual unalienable rights was. The idea before that had not only been, it was it was unanimous. The thought was that some king or some, dictator was was knighted by God, and his family lineage had some special Avenger powers like the Marvel movies, and that you were his subjects. That was just accepted as common thought. So the idea that the what we would call the average common man, I don't mean that in a qualitatively bad way, but everyone was born with the same exact big R God-given rights as the king, was revolutionary. Like this was considered like insane. King George was probably laughing at us. Like, look at these idiots, consent to the governed. What a bunch of morons. And we got the last laugh in that one.
Well, and there are people even then who interpreted the words of the Declaration narrowly as saying just not that all men are created equal, which is what it actually says, but that American Englishmen are the equivalent of English Englishmen, because in some ways the revolution was about American colonists saying, you're not going to take away our rights as Englishmen in order to sort of reconstitute the British Empire. You can't do this. We've governed ourselves for 150 years. That's one thing people don't take into account, is how long colonies like Virginia and Massachusetts had been running and having their own legislatures, which levied their own taxes. And basically they were free of the interference of Parliament and the king. And then after the French and Indian War, things changed. And it just wasn't possible. I actually try to give the British a fair shake when I teach this stuff at Hillsdale College because there's a tendency for everybody to be patriots, but they did have a problem. They were way in debt. They had spent a lot of money, a ton of money, trying to defend their British North American colonies, and their British Empire, which they now had, was expanded because of the outrageous success of the war against the French. And they had to do something to get the colonies to in some way contribute to the general sort of operating funds of the empire. What they did was extremely clumsy. I think it could possibly, somebody should write a book about this, and I haven't, but it could have been done in a better way, even without the connectivity that we have today, even with an ocean separating. But it wasn't done in a skillful way. And every step that was taken aggravated the problem until the colonists came to conclusion. Reluctantly, in many cases, they came to conclusion they had to separate, that was the only solution. But the war itself, you're right, it was, there's a saying, baseball's a game of inches.
Oh, I love this part. This is my favorite part.
I
know where you're going with this.
Even before, we had challenges in instant replay, which I think have been a mixed blessing. But, history's a game of inches. And it's not just the famous Cleopatra's nose. If it had been inches longer, she wouldn't have been so attractive, and then blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of close calls. In George Washington, one of the biggest things he did, it doesn't get a lot of credit for this, is simply holding the army together during this war. We were at war from 1775, April 1775 on, but by the time that, say, Christmas of 1776 rolled around, we were on the defensive. We were losing every battle. The British were just overwhelming us. Even the day that the actual Declaration of Independence, not the document, but July 2nd, the British were landing a huge force at Staten Island, and they were going to just overwhelm us. So it was that day that Washington, Christmas Day, 1776, Washington ordered the crossing the Delaware, the attack in the early morning hours of the Hessians at Trenton. And that was a win. That was a glorious win for us, a gutsy win. Under the circumstances, but he had, by the time the winter came into full bloom by the early 1777, his troops were deserting, they were dying off, and Valley Forge was later, but it's another instance where he was in danger of losing the army. He would go into months where he had only 3,000 men. And then he'd get them to re-enlist. Washington did things like he had. Just seems so crazy, but I think you will get this.
Yeah.
There was a play that about the life of Cato the Elder, and a lot of people, even just common people, were familiar with the classics at that time. And Cato the Elder was trying to defend the Roman Republic against the empire, through the small scale human rights, or the orientation of the Roman Republic, and they lost, and he ended up committing suicide. But he gave these wonderful speeches about the nobility of freedom, and this play, which is written by a British guy named Joseph Addison, was he put on a performance for his sick, dying, ill-clad, hungry, malnourished troops, and it inspired them to keep on fighting. That tells you something about Washington, but also about his men. Who would think of doing that? Like showing a Top Gun to
right. No, it's a good point, though, Dr. McClay. We're talking to Dr. Bill McClay, professor of history at Hillsdale College. But it's a great point. I really think, it's almost axiomatic to say the public school systems failed our generation. I mean, we get that by the reading and math. But on history, I'll tell you, Doc, we blown it. I mean, we learned what George Washington, all I remember being, it was like a cherry tree story. Like, that's the most ridiculous. Who cares? Washington, I think when you full spectrum analyze George Washington, you have to take into account the good and the bad, and the good far, more than maybe any other of our founding fathers outweighs the bad. But you have to take into account that Washington was ruthless. I mean, they would hang deserters. I mean, he had no choice. The whole army would have abandoned him. I mean, when you look at the Battle of Trenton, the famous, iconic painting of Washington crossing the Delaware, that was guerrilla war. That wasn't the old, British Empire, what they were used to. It was the Hessians, but you know what they were used? Line up, shoot, duck, the other guy shoots. This was early guerrilla war. Like, these early revolutionaries, in today's terms, were pretty badass.
No, they were, definitely. And, this is one of the things that Washington said numerous times is, well, we're not the equal of British regulars, as they didn't call them redcoats, they called them regulars. But we know things that they don't know. We have sharpshooters that are better than theirs. And we had advantages. We were playing on the home field, for one thing. That's always an advantage. But we had a tactical superiority, which was evident, by the way, in the French and Indian War. The British were so arrogant towards their American compadres that they didn't pick up on this. But in Washington, there's a new movie out I have not seen, maybe you have, called Young Washington, that I've heard really good things about. And it's about his experience in the French and Indian War, and I can't wait to see it, because apparently it's a pretty accurate rendering of that. And he was a very young man, but he was a tough hombre. He went through some bad stuff. He was captured, and he at one point he was sort of blamed for all of these troubles, and he just kind of cut through it. He was.
He surrendered at Fort Necessity and was beat up pretty bad for that. And he learned a ton from it. Yeah. By the time he was commander-in-chief of the Continental Army at the time of the Revolution, he knew what he was doing. And there's this great moment where he shows up. They call the Second Continental Congress, and he shows up wearing his military uniform, which is especially designed. It's buff and blue, and it's very striking. And nobody else is there wearing a military uniform. And he's all. And he was a big guy. He was an imposing figure. He was for that time. He was like the Shaquille O'Neal of that time. He was huge.
Yeah, he was. I believe he was 6'2", but you consider that, like, James Madison was just a little over 5 feet. He towered over. And John Adams, similarly, very short guy, said no. He had a big chest. He was, he was extremely. He was fitted for the role. But he's sort of saying, I'm your guy. I volunteer. And he made one condition, that he didn't accept any pay for the job.
Amazing.
Which and I'll tell you one other thing. You talked about George III laughing at him. Well, the tables turned on that, and when it was reported to George III by a guy who was doing, Benjamin West, an American who was doing his portrait, George III's portrait, said that Washington had resigned his commission, which he did in Annapolis. He resigned his commission as commander-in-chief to return to his farm in Mount Vernon. George III said, well, you know, if that's true, he's the greatest character of the age.
It's my favorite quote, possibly of all time.
Yeah. And
they couldn't understand that. The relinquishing of power was such a foreign thought to a monarch that he couldn't process that the most powerful man in America, who, by the way, could have been a king. If there was going to be a king in the United States, George Washington was king. And he would have probably won popular king approval at about 80% of the vote. And he refused it. He was actually a reluctant president too, but he just refused it. And King George couldn't understand that.
No, and a lot of people couldn't understand it. I mean, but he was a true blue Republican. I mean, the small R Republican. But he believed that the people should rule, not monarchs. And that's something that most of the founders were agreed about. Jefferson, to go back to your earlier comments about Jefferson has, in one of his last letters, he wrote to somebody about how the world is awakening to the capacity of man, and it no longer accepts the idea. I'm just paraphrasing here. I should memorize the quote because it's so good. It said they've rejected the idea that some are born booted and spurred to ride the backs of other men. In other words, that there is a natural aristocratic order, a natural order of people who are born to rule over others. He said, we rejected that idea. All men are created equal. All men are created equal, endowed by their creator, not by government. It's an interesting difference between our declaration and the French Declaration. The French Declaration, which Jefferson actually had some influence on, but it says that power comes from the nation. We don't say that. We say it comes from God. So there's an appeal to heaven, as John Locke would say. There's an appeal to heaven inherent in the Declaration of Independence that you're not going to find in the French document, and it still does not see our rights as natural, as inherent, as inborn, as the deposit of the Creator. And
Dr. Bill, I got to run. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time. The only reason I wanted to wrap it up here is because this actually ties into how we opened the show on the socialism versus freedom and liberty debate. Because I believe that this modern iteration of the same failed idea is ironically a leftover, almost caricature of the European costumed aristocracy we tried to leave behind in the United States, where you were born into some caste or class system. Like you just said, the Harvard Women's Studies guy. No, I was born into this class. No, you're not born into any class. This is the United States. You're born into the U.S. citizen class. And that's the irony of the whole thing on our 250th, that everything we tried to escape is being, again, regurgitated under a new marketing scheme. But this is everything we got away from. So I'm out of time, unfortunately, but I would love to
go on that. We'll come
I know
back,
we can go on, and I tell you what, I think during this.
Can I just mention one thing that
yeah, please. I got about a minute. That's it.
How the EU invalidated the election in Romania. That was this raw display of democracy doesn't matter when it contradicts the intentions of the EU.
Or like we just said, Nicaragua.
You were really onto something with this.
Yeah, Nicaragua too. I mean, it's not Europe, obviously. However, it's the same brand of this foregone lineage thing, like you guys you're benighted by God, and that it's the same nonsense. Whereas we said the opposite. You all are knighted by God. He's going to put the scepter on all of your shoulders. It's a totally different idea. I'd love to do about an hour with you on all this stuff, because every one of these, I didn't even get to Shay's Rebellion and all the other stuff.
Me, I'm
so
ready.
we'd love to have you back. All right, Dr. Bill McClay, Hillsdale College. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Dan, for everything you do and have done for our country.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you very much. Folks, that was Dr. Bill McClay. Check him out. Hillsdale College has an unbelievable library of material on this topic. Strongly, highly, hugely recommend them. Check out Haley coming up at noon, rumble.com/Haley, Vince every day at 8 a.m., rumble.com/Vince. We love both of their shows. They're fantastic. That's what we have them on the Bongino Report family here. Also, download the free Rumble app. As I said, it's free. Doesn't cost you anything if you want to watch the show live every day. Also, you can watch it on the web, rumble.com/Bongino, or on your smart TV as well. Just download the Rumble app. Click that follow button. We really appreciate it. I will see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Hey there, I'm Vince.
I'm Haley Cardia,
Host of Vince.
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report.
Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Weekdays at noon. If you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
right here
and anywhere you find podcasts. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, Haley Carania here, host of Scrolling with Haley. My show is coming up right here on Rumble at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I cover breaking news, react to viral videos, go down conspiracy theory rabbit holes, and have a whole lot of fun. You are not going to want to miss a second of it. Live, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Rumble, rumble.com/Haley. I'll see you there.